Area 210, where the dreams don't fade. From the river walk nights to the Alamo shade, we rise together through the highs and the lows. Area 210, oh, it's the life that we chose.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Area 210 podcast. And today we're going to be joined here by Frank Harris,
My
UTSA
man,
royalty in the house today joining us. Frank, how's it going, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, you know what? We're down one man, man. It's our boy Mike. It's his birthday. Happy birthday to Miguelito. But
Happy birthday, Mike.
there's no days off, Frank. My boy's slacking.
We got to figure that out. I mean, if you're gonna go out there and have a good time, you still gotta have your priorities straight and still get up and get ready to work, man. Come on, Mike.
Yeah, man. Mike, come on. He was having a good time yesterday. He was out with his wife
All right.
celebrating his birthday. And he had posted a picture, and I told him the eyes don't lie. I can already tell my boy had a little too much fun. Yeah.
It's all right. We're gonna fill in for you, Mike.
Yeah, I said good on him though. He's having a good time. But
That's
I
good,
wanted to
man.
talk to you about some things, man. We got to talk about the San Antonio Spurs and kind of get your insight on like what you think they've been doing because they've been having a good season so far, looking
For sure.
strong. And we also got to go ahead and talk about UTSA football. Of course, that season's going to be coming up here shortly.
For sure.
And also UTSA baseball, man. That baseball team, they've been on a tear as of late, man.
For real. All right, let's just jump straight into the Spurs, man. They've been killing it. It's exciting to see. It's kind of giving us the '07 to 14 vibe back whenever they won it. A lot of buzz in the city. Everybody likes to go to the Spurs game again. It's just great energy for the city, man. So I'm super excited for those guys and hoping they can just keep winning and see how far we can go.
Yeah, the Spurs, they had a good game, for the first couple of quarters there. They were leading the Nuggets. In the first quarter, the Spurs outscored the Nuggets 37-25. Second quarter is a little closer. Spurs still outscored the Nuggets 32-28. Fourth quarter, got a little scared there, man. Spurs barely kept pace with them, but the Nuggets outscored them 41-37. But that fourth quarter, that's where the wheels fell off,
Yep.
and the absence of Wemby was felt. Spurs ran
Yep.
out of gas, man. They only scored 25 points. The Nuggets ranked 42. That was game 136, 131. Nuggets win. Like
Man, I was watching that game and I was paying attention and they were up by like 13 and picked my head back up and it was a tie ball game. I'm like, what is going on? Like it was a quick process for that scoreboard to change. But yeah, man, I just think, the Nuggets they can get hot so quickly, with Jokic and Jamal Murray. Um, they could score 30 points like that. So tough loss for us.
Yeah, it definitely was a tough loss for the San Antonio Spurs. We're showing some highlights. We'll get Frank back on here. He might be having some technical difficulties there. But as you can see, the highlights here from the San Antonio Spurs lost yesterday. Saving grace was Castle, man. Castle was cooking yesterday. Absolutely cooking. Had a triple double. And if
Ooh,
you're a Spurs fan, you got a lot to be excited about with Castle, man. Even though the Spurs lost in the absence of Wemby, Frank, I was just going on about Castle, man. Castle looked good. He had his triple double last night, and he was cooking, man. You want to see that out of your young player.
for sure. No, he has a great, bright future. I just hope that we can contain him and keep him in San Antonio for his whole career because his ceiling is extremely high. Like he's a young guy, but I mean he plays at a high level and he just plays effortless. Like he's a smooth basketball player.
Yeah, so his stat line from last night, we're looking at Stephon Castle. He played a total of 35 minutes, had 30 points.
Ooh,
He had 11 rebounds, and he had 10 assists on the night. But,
ooh.
I know everybody always says, like, you look across the board and you look at the players, and a lot of players were scoring in double digits. You had Vassell added 18. Luke Cornett didn't have any, but Castle had 30. Darren Fox had 27. Carter Bryant 10. The Toyota Corolla, Harrison Barnes, he came back from his injury. The old man, Unk, He hurt himself when
Hey,
he
that's
took a
they.
nap.
Hey, that's what they call me, man. Lay off on the jokes. They call me that. They call me the old head, so I can't even laugh at Harrison Barnes.
Oh. He took a nap and then he woke up and he hurt his ankle. So he had been
Man,
out. He returned 20 points on the night, and Dylan Harper added 13. But it was just like we said, it just wasn't enough because Spurs didn't have Wemby. But I mean, after thinking about it and you're looking at everything, this still is a very good team. And they were able to
for
compete
sure,
with the Nuggets.
for sure. No, 100% agree on that.
And I mean, I was gonna ask you, what are your thoughts now? Because you've seen the Spurs, right? And you've seen where they started in the beginning of the season. And there was a lot of work that still needed to be done. Game wasn't looking as crisp, had a lot of little miscues here and there on defense. They just didn't look very Spurs like. And people were already mad and they're like, oh man, look at this team, and
Yep,
they're winning, and everybody's like, okay. But now you see the evolution of the team coming together, and now they're on a tear. They're being talked about by the national media. And they're saying, is this a team that's going to compete for a championship? Because in years past, it was experience. But then you look at OKC and you look how OKC was able to win a chip with a bunch of young players. The Spurs have a mix of not only young players, Frank, but they also have veterans on the team. So, could you say that the Spurs right now, in your opinion, are a team that can contend for a title now?
I mean, I definitely think so. Like you said, I know they are young. I just think they needed to figure out the camaraderie with each other, how to play off of each other. Basketball. I mean, yeah, you have great players out there, but you gotta play with one another, right? And I finally think that they're starting to figure that out. Like you said, OKC is a young team that they ended up going out there and winning it all. Uh, I have a strong feeling that the Spurs have a great chance of going out there and contending and playing for a championship if they could just stay healthy, keep playing like they've been playing. Um, I mean, it's exciting. Like I said, it's exciting for the city. I remember a couple years ago, everybody's giving away Spurs tickets. Like I ain't going to the game today. Y'all want to go? Now it's like everybody is. No, I'm keeping my tickets. Or hey, anybody got extra tickets? So it's just cool to see. They bring the city of San Antonio so much pride and joy, and it makes you feel proud. To be from San Antonio. We talk about the Spurs and stuff like that. So it's always a good feeling whenever the Spurs are doing good, and I just hope they can just keep on striving off of this.
Yeah, you just wanna see see them get better and better, and I think that's the thing is that we've seen the uptick of the San Antonio Spurs, the evolution of the game, and it looks like you have little shades here and there, Frank, of the beautiful game from years ago,
Yep,
like in their 2014 championship run, where you see that passing, and you just take a step back and you look at this team, but they are so much more athletic than that 2014 Spurs
for
team
sure.
because these young guys, man, they get out there and they can run the court. They're exciting to watch. In years past, it was like, oh, this Spurs team is a boring team. Not anymore. Not anymore.
I do 100% agree with you on that. I mean, you got Wemby, who's just a freak of nature, who is going to do something spectacular almost every night, if not every night. And then you got Castle. He might just dunk on somebody, every night if he feels like it. You got De'Aaron, you got Harper. I mean, you got so many guys that are just exciting players to watch that they could go out there and do something spectacular. So it's kind of like a must-watch TV. A couple years ago, whenever everybody said the Spurs were boring, I mean, I love the Spurs. Don't get me wrong, born and raised San Antonio. They were boring though, but they did what they had to do, and they will win basketball games. But there was nothing that stuck out about the Spurs besides just very fundamental basketball. Um, but they won games, so you can't knock something like that. But I think now we kind of have that swag about us. You got some young guys coming in, kind of playing the NBA style of basketball now, not just the fundamental. So I think it's good. I think we're starting to evolve and get more of like a NBA style kind of thing, bringing that to the NBA and bringing it to San Antonio.
Yeah, man. And just like I said, you're just looking at players like Stephon Castle, for example. He's looking very poised. I mean, for him being so young, like
Yeah,
his game is like something else, man, because I haven't seen a young player just like Castle just be able to come into his own so soon. Like, and the
for
scary
sure,
thing is he hasn't even hit his peak yet. There's still a lot of game left for him to like learn and
for
elevate.
sure,
Yeah.
100%.
So
No,
like his
I do agree
mechanics
on
and
that.
everything look great.
No, he's a beast. I'm excited that we got him for sure.
Yeah, I love Castle and that. The thing is, like the Spurs, they play a lot of small ball out there, and I think that's why they're so exciting to watch, Frank. Because you have like Stephon Castle, you have Dylan Harper, right? You got them all out there. De'Aaron Fox out there, and then you have Devin Vassell. And Devin Vassell to me is the
Yeah,
glue because like when Devin is hitting on all cylinders, he's knocking down his threes, he's knocking down his jumpers, he's being aggressive, going to the rim, it sets the tone for everybody else. And he does so well at spacing the floor. And when the Spurs missed him in his absence, the floor spacing didn't look as crisp. And then when you have Devin on the floor, it's a totally different ball club.
I do. Yeah, I do agree on that because Devin can go out there and get his own bucket whenever he wants. So you gotta respect him. And like you said, if he starts hitting his threes and his jumpers, he can get hot very quickly. So you gotta go out there and try to guard him. So I do agree with you on that, man. And there's so many weapons on the Spurs now, man. It's exciting to watch. I mean, everybody that you named, I'm like, oh, I forgot about him. And you got killed, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. You know what I mean? So it's just like
Yeah,
they have so much depth as well on the bench. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't or shouldn't make a run um, at the finals just because they have so much depth and they could just keep on rotating. And everybody that they rotate in is going to be really good. It's not like they're going to take a playoff or something like that. So I'm
yeah,
excited for him, man. And I just want the city to get another championship, man. It just brings the city so much joy, and I would
it
love for that
does.
to happen.
Yeah, even like with Julian Champagny, right? Champagny, and you
Yeah, I
look at
forgot
his
about
evolution
Juju.
of the game too. Like
Yep,
he's become one of these players that is just a role player, and you need role players. You can't always
for
have
sure,
a team loaded with superstars because you have to have everybody working together as a team. And
100%.
Champagny is one of these pieces that when he's hitting and he's knocking down his threes, again, it helps with the floor spacing. And he can just go
For
off at any
sure.
given time. When he gets hot, he
he
gets hot.
can. He can. He can knock some threes down, boy. He can shoot now. He's a for sure shooter. But like you said, great role player, knows his role, comes off plays extremely hard, does what the team needs him to do, and like you said, he can knock down some shots for us. And like you said, everybody needs that. So it's just a lot of guys like that on this team. Even Kevin Johnson taking a step back and coming off the bench. I just think so. We're so unselfish. We play for one another. We play so hard together, and it's just cool to watch those guys play and go out there and have a bond that you could tell that they're actually a tight knit group, and it's just pretty cool to see. And that's what I think has taken us to that next step and going out there and winning all these games just because they're playing for one another and they're so close knit. You start playing with your brothers like that, it's kind of hard to beat somebody.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I wanted to point out too. You just brought it up is that camaraderie with the team. Like this
Yeah,
team really enjoys each other. Like they enjoy playing out there on the court together. You can tell they're having fun.
for
And then
sure,
like if somebody else goes off, one of the other teammates goes off, the rest of the team, there's no egos. Like they're happy for their
for
dude.
sure.
They're
Yep.
cheering them on, and you can't fake that. That's real, So
Yeah.
I love that. Like they're a well-oiled machine right now. And the latest addition that they added, Mason Plumlee, he hasn't really seen a lot of minutes, and he probably won't, but he's going to be a fan favorite nonetheless. And he looked like he was having a good time too because they won the other night and they had him come out and beat that drum. You know how they do the drum after that? And he was
Yeah,
just
I
like
seen
just
that.
smiling.
I do like Mason Plumlee. He's the OG. I do like Mason Plumlee. I totally forgot that they got him. So excited to see what he does for the Spurs.
Be honest with me, Frank. You know how they do the drum after the game and they beat the drum there. And if you're at home in front of the TV and the Spurs win and they beat the drum, are you going, you doing the clap
I'm
in your
turning the
living
T.
room?
I'm turning the TV off. I'm changing the channel. I ain't doing that. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. That's their thing. I'm not partaking in that one. Sorry. Yeah, I was somewhere. Somebody was like, "What are they doing?" I'm like, "Oh, actually, I was with my family, and they had just won this past weekend." I think my mom was like, "What are they doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a new tradition that they got going on." She was like, "What?" I was like, "You know what? Change the channel." So you just change the channel. Don't even gotta worry about it. Change the channel. Change the
You know,
channel.
watching the Jackals clap.
Yeah, no, for real.
My God.
For real. For real.
Oh man, Frank does
That's
a lot, but he
hilarious.
won't clap. He's not gonna do that clap.
No, I ain't clapping. I'm sorry. I'm not going. I'm not doing. Not doing that
Oh
one.
man. I know Mike somewhere. He's smiling, dude. He's laughing because Mike does the clap, and I'll do the clap too. It's like I didn't really care for the drum and the clap, like when they started that, and I was like, you know what? I think this is kind of whack, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna let it grow on me. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it now, low key. I do like it. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'll be out
Cool
there in
little
the living
tradition that
room,
we
Frank.
made.
I'm clapping my hands.
Nah, see, I ain't doing that. Nah, I ain't doing that one. No, sir. That's funny. Nope. Mm-mm.
This is gonna be the clip that we're gonna put out today for the show. Frank will not do the clap after the Spurs
Nah.
victory.
Singing Frank, oh, oh, ohs. Nope. Not doing that
Oh
one.
my god. So Frank, what do you think of the Jackals, man? Have you heard the Jackals when you're at the game?
I don't think I have.
So at the game, they have that supporter section, right? You got the Jackals, and they're the ones that are all screaming and yelling, and they're
Oh,
doing the
yeah, yeah,
chants
yeah.
in the arena, you
Yes.
know?
I seen them, but I don't, I mean, I don't pay much attention, to be honest with you.
No.
No. I'm locked in the game. I'm trying to watch some good basketball.
Frank ain't impressed. You ain't
No.
impressed.
Ain't got time for all that. Trying to watch my guys win a basketball game. And let all the other stuff take care of it. I'm locked in like I'm playing.
Oh man, you're a competitor, man. I like that. You're like, I ain't got time for all that, man. I'm watching the game.
Yeah.
In.
What did Sean say?
Let's see.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Sean says, "Grito for Frank. Do the clap." He's trying to force you to do the clap. No, man. Don't
$4.99.
give him like $20 or 50 something, man. Maybe he'll think about it.
Hey, next time I go to the game, I'll make sure somebody records me doing the clap.
Oh man.
I'm gonna
Let me go
troll
ahead
it.
and play the grito for you, Frank, because Sean paid for it, man. I'll give you the OG grito, the old man.
Let me see.
Por presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
There you go. That's a grito, man.
What the hell is that?
That's a Mexican grito. That's like the Mexican battle cry, man. That's what that
Oh, okay.
is. That's what that is.
Hey,
That
there we go.
OG style. They do that,
OG.
man, at our Mexican barbecues. Like you're having the carne asada, and you're in the backyard and your uncle's getting lit, and they go ahead and take some tequila. Then when they get all crazy, they go and do the grito, man.
That's funny. There you go. There we go.
That's what that is. But that's funny, dude. I was like, I never knew that, Frank. Like, you didn't pay attention to nothing else. Like, when you're at the game, you're locked in. Like, don't talk to me. I'm watching the game.
No, I talk to people that I don't want to
Yeah.
come off like that. I'll speak to
Yeah.
whoever they come speak to me. But I'm watching the game though. I'm not really paying attention to really nothing else. Like I'm just here to watch, you know what I'm saying? Watch the basketball game like everybody else. I'm not really looking at what they doing over there. But no, I'll talk to everybody.
That's cool. Hey, man, what's your go-to? Do you get anything to eat, like snack on when you're at the arena?
No, I'm not a big. It depends on when I go. I gotta watch my figure. So like if I
Yeah.
go during the week, I don't be snacking or nothing. But if I go like on a Friday or something, I mean, not really. I don't really don't snack on nothing. I just go watch the game. Like
Watch the game.
whenever I go, I usually go get some food before, like in the little, I don't even know what they call it. Eat, hang out a little bit, and then I just go sit down and watch the game. Have a good
Drink of
time.
water.
Yeah, it's a water, all right. Gotta have me a water.
Hey, Frank, Sean was telling me the other day, he's like, you know what? Yeah, I need to go. He needs to go golfing with you again. That's what he was telling me.
Man, we haven't been yet. I told him to let me know whenever he's free, man. I'm actually about to go here in a little bit. But yeah, man, that's my new thing. I mean, people asking, do I miss playing football? I'm like, if I'm being honest with you, I'd rather wake up on a Saturday and have a tea time with my boys than wake up on a Saturday and go play football any day of the week. So to answer that question, I'm like, nah, I don't miss football.
You
I
don't
really
miss the
golf.
football. You like
I
the
really
golf
golf.
now.
Yeah, I love golfing. With my boys, oh, you can't. It's nothing better. Great day outside. You with your boys. Got some music playing. Got a little drink flowing. You might light up a cigar.
Oh
Man,
man.
you can't. you can't beat that. It's like, dude, we're gonna suck, but guess what? We're having a great time. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Does not
You know,
matter.
man, Sean's trying to get me into golf, man, and I'm not a golfer, right? I've never golfed before, but he paints a good picture, and so do you. Like maybe that's something I need to start looking into, Frank.
Promise you. Everybody, I mean, my boys try to get me to do it in high school. I made fun of them. I'm like, I ain't golfing, bro. That's stupid. Man, I wish I would have started then because I started probably in 2023 and the best decision I've ever made. And now it's like, dude, you can't beat it, man. You cannot beat a good golf day. So,
That
such a great time
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start picking that up some way somehow. I have to go
for
get
sure.
lessons on how to putt and how to go ahead and hit the
Hey,
ball
just
and
come
all
out there.
that, man.
We'll figure it out together. Don't even worry about it. Just come have a good time. That's all that matters.
Just bring the beer. Just bring the beer.
Just bring the
Bring some
beer and the
cigars.
vibes. We'll figure it out. Yeah,
I need to do that, man. Because they know they have
for
that girl
real.
that comes around in the cart, right? And she has like drinks and
Yeah, the
stuff in
cart
there.
girl.
Yeah.
Exactly. See the cart girl. It's like, yep, let's get around. And you're having a
Yeah,
great
man.
time.
Hey, that's cool though, man. Because the bar comes to you, right? And you're out there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And they just
man.
pull up, whatever you want. I'm like, oh yeah,
Would say, what you got? What do you
yeah,
want? What you got?
for real, for real.
Damn, I need to do that then, man. You and Sean are painting a nice picture about golf, dude. I might have to go ahead and give
Gotta
that
come
a
out
shot.
there. Got you.
Sean's gonna make money off of me because I'm a novice, man, and he's been playing the game for a little bit. He'd be like, "Come on, Joe, let's put some money on the game, man."
See, that's why you don't do that. You gotta be smarter than that. You gotta be like, nah, brother, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? We out here for a good time. I'm not betting. You're not finna do
No
this to
betting.
me. Nope. No
I
betting.
gotta let him get me. Like, see, golf advice from Frank Harris, man. I like that.
Yeah. I
Don't
ain't
let him
betting.
sucker you in.
Yeah, unless they're terrible, and it's like, all right, I'll bet you. But like, I gotta see you play first. You're not finna just make no, never doing that one. Nope.
Hey, we
Nope.
got to ask you though, because you know you're UTSA royalty when it comes to men's football, right? UTSA football, and they got their season coming up here. I mean, it's kind of a little ways away, but it's going to be here sooner rather than later. And the season's coming up September the 5th. They're going to start their season against UTRGV, which is going to be uh, the RGV for the Rio Grande Valley, basically, and that's September the 5th. Usually they play the UTEP Miners at some point, and my boy gets all excited for that game because he's a UTEP
Yeah.
alum, and I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be
Tell them
bad.
don't get excited about that.
Exactly, but you know they got the RGV game coming up. All right, it's kind of ho hum there, but then they got the big dogs. You know, right away they got Texas State, and that's a rivalry right there. Texas State has had their number, and then they play UT. So I'm like, man, that's me another one too. Everybody gets excited for that, and UTSA always makes it interesting in the beginning, but then UT, usually pulls away
For
in
sure.
the second half. But nonetheless, that Texas State game has become the game to go to.
100%. The game.
The game,
Everybody is gonna be there. And you know what? Everybody's gonna be at the UTRGV game as well because the people from the valley travel deep.
really.
So they probably gonna bring. I can imagine how many people that they bring. And then I know it's gonna be our first game, so I think it'll be 35,000 people at least in that Alamo Dome for the first game for UTRGV. To be honest with you, and then I think coming back that next week playing against Texas State, probably the same, a little bit more. So I'm excited about the season, man. I think we had a great rebuild season last year. Um, Learning out everything, new players coming in, the ins and outs and stuff like that. Have a new OC coming in. Uh, got a new receiver coach. We got a lot of new coaches coming in, so I just think it's a new era kind of coming around. So I'm excited for him. Of course, Trailer's still there. She's still gonna be the same guy. And then I think like the players are just buying into it. The culture is getting redefined. So I'm excited about it, man, and hope they go out there and kill it.
Yeah, you know one thing. I looked at the schedule, Frank. You know who I don't see him playing this year? Army. I don't see him
Man,
playing
forget
Army.
Army.
They play Navy, but they don't play Army. Army's always
Forget
giving them
Army.
trouble.
Yeah, so they used to be independent, so we played them every year when they were independent. Now they're in our conference, so I think they might be on the other side. Maybe probably next year. That's probably we don't play them. But yeah, I
Yeah.
hate playing Army. Can't. Sorry. Anybody that served, I appreciate it. I love you guys, but playing football, can't stand y'all. Sorry. Hate it.
Army's
Absolutely
always
pisses
been a
me off.
problem, Frank. Like, why has
Pisses me
Army
off.
always been a problem?
Well, let me tell you. You ever play keep away? Well,
Yep.
they just keep the ball away from you, and you only get so many possessions. So that's first thing. The second thing, you ain't gonna get no penalties against them because the ref ain't gonna throw a flag versus somebody who's in the military. So they're automatic on their side. So they're gonna get most of the calls. Man, it's just then they just the style of offense that they run is just you can't really practice against it. So they just kill people. It's just a lot that goes into it, man. And like if and I'm being honest, not saying that people in Army are not athletic. That's not what I'm saying. But if you were to line them up, athlete for athlete, I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be more athletic than the guys that they're playing against. But they just play extremely hard. They have a great scheme, and it works for them, right? You can't knock it. But it just bothers us so much. It just pisses us off when we play against them.
Yeah, man, I can tell, dude. Because I remember going back years ago and watching you play out there on the field, and UTSA was doing so good that first half. I'm like, man, they looking good. They're gonna go ahead. They got this, you know. And then the second half started, and then the wheels fell off. Frank, Army was victorious, man.
Man, that's like our kryptonite, man. Seriously. Army's our kryptonite, man. I don't even know what it is, man. It
Every
bothers
time,
me
man. But
every
I
time.
was gonna ask you one thing too, because I mean, we love you and then football and all that. But let's talk a little bit about the baseball team, man. This UTSA baseball team is something special. Right now, their overall record, Frank, is 14-3. Their win percentage is .824, and
Oof.
they're undefeated at home. They're 7-0 at home. Away, they're 4-3, and on a neutral site, they're 3-0. Like UTSA football's been doing it, man.
Man, so what I'm hearing is we got to go to a game soon. Like who's going? Oh, look who joined!
What's going on, Frank? What's going on, baby? How you
What's up,
been?
brother?
Nice to see you, man.
And you
Good
too,
morning.
man.
So what did I miss in
You
the
had a
show
good
so
birthday.
far, man?
You missed everything, man. The eyes don't lie, Miguelito. The eyes don't lie.
Oh my God! So last night we went to the Bill Burr performance over at the Houston Bayou Theater, whatever that was. It was amazing. Then I had a few cocktails, and the eyes don't lie, man. Just got out of the hot tub right now.
Jeez,
I'm
that
getting
seems like a
old,
great
Frank.
night, though.
49 today, my man. I'm getting
Oh, you're
old.
49. I thought he said 29. I was just messing around, and I said 49. I guess you're right.
Now today's my birthday, man. 49. It's also the first year that my
Oh,
mom hasn't called me at 7:48 a.m. to wish me happy birthday, man. I don't know what that's all about, but
Jeez.
because she knows you're hurting right now. Don't worry, she'll give you that call. Well, happy
but
birthday, brother. That's big time, man.
so what are we talking about today, man?
We're talking about UTSA baseball, man. How good the team's been. They have a 14-3 record right now. They looking good.
Dude, dude, they're amazing, man. That coaching program that they have over there is amazing. It's been fun watching UTSA. They were one game away from making the College World Series last year. But Frank, man, we love the baseball team. So there's no diss on the baseball team, but that field is whack, dude. That field they play at
It's
is
atrocious.
brutal.
My high school was better than that, and it just says a lot about the program. I mean that they still get these great recruits and the coaching staff, but they're not making any excuses, and they figure out a way to win. So at some point, we got to go back and help and reinvest in the baseball program because year in and year out, they're having a great season and going extremely far.
How do you recruit to that, though, man? I mean, it's just the miracle of recruiting to that. I know they're in the AAC, right? So, or American Athletic Conference. So that's a big deal. But man, to recruit and say, "Hey, come play at this field," we call it Little League Park. I mean, there's like 200. There's like, do you have enough butts and seats for like 200 people there? It's crazy.
No, man.
It's actually terrible. It kind of reminds me of whenever UTSA before we got the race facility. Very, very similar. Our locker room and weight room before we got the race. Not joking. My high school had a better locker room. Weight room, probably
Uh,
equivalent. But it's one of those things. We saw a future. We knew that at some point we're going to get a better facility. We believe in the culture, we believe in the staff, and we just believe in everything that coach told us at the time. So looking back, I mean, that was kind of similar to us. It was terrible that the facility that we had for football, and now you fast forward a couple years, and we have one of the best facilities in the nation. So just one of those things that the guys that are playing right now, they're not going to see it because it's going to be too late. But then they're going to look back, 5 or 10 years from now, and be like, "Damn, this is nice." Back when I was playing, we didn't have nothing, you know what I mean? But I mean, they're gonna be the forefront to that, to actually having that happen. So you got to just figure it out in the meantime and just keep winning ball games, and at some point we're gonna help reinvest and
Hey Frank,
get back that year.
real fast. Can we have you log out, log back in, man? You got kind of choppy there the last few seconds there.
The audio. Maybe just turn off the Bluetooth and turn it back on again. I think that might fix the problem.
I thought it was him. Let me see.
It was just a little bit of an audio,
Is it better?
choppy audio.
I'm gonna leave him come back.
Yeah,
All right.
sorry, log out and come back in.
Come back in. Yeah.
So Joe, the Spurs last night. I have no idea what happened in the sense that I saw the fourth quarter. Chica and I got out of the Bill Burr performance. We went to the Biggio's bar here in Houston.
Yeah.
And the Spurs were up by like 9. And I'm like, all right, fourth quarter, get going. I can watch the end of the game. They blew the lead in the fourth quarter. And I'm thinking, well, where's Wemby? And I know that he was questionable before the game started. And is it bad? I mean, what did I miss?
Basically, what it was is that the wheels came off of the Spurs. You had the Nuggets outscore them 42-25.
Yeah, I mean, but it was a close game regardless. It was down to one possession the last minute of the game. But is Wemby hurt? Or is that just a glorified load management game?
A glorified load management game. There was really nothing going on with him, per se. He's just been banged up, they need to go ahead and rest him. And you can't blame him. I mean, you want to go ahead and rest your player. But the problem with it is that if Wemby misses 3 more games, Mike, he's not eligible to win Defensive Player of the Year because you got to play those 65 games. So he's going to miss this game. You would expect him to play the other games. But again, after this one, absence that he didn't play, he can only miss 3 more games. After that, if he misses more than that, he's ineligible for any awards.
Yeah, keep in mind,
We're not
it's
worried about
65
those
games.
awards. We're not worried about those awards. We're trying to win a championship. Rest Wemby. We need him at 100% so we can win a championship. We don't care about no pro accolades.
But Frank,
Sorry.
here's
Go
the
ahead,
problem, man. If he gets the award, he gets $52 million added to his contract in the offseason. So he's got $52 million on the line to get to 65 games played. Kind of crazy. Actually, he only needs to get to 64 because they're going to get credit for the Emirates Cup final back in December. But it's a difference between signing for a max extension of 250 or a max extension of 302. Got $52 million on the line, Frank.
Wait, he has to pay.
I'll be right back.
Play in 6. Okay, he has to play in 62 games or whatever to get
65.
He has to play in 65 games to make $52 million.
Yes. More. So his contract right now. So he's in year 3 of a 4-year contract, right? He's eligible for an extension at the end of the year, at the end of the season. The extension's either going to be a max contract, which is $250 million, or a super max contract, which is 302. The only way that you qualify for the super max is if you make the All NBA team, or you win Defensive Player of the Year or MVP. He's in line to win Defensive Player of the Year by far. I mean, he's like by far the favorite to win. But the only way that you can win is if you get to 65 games played. And
you're not on camera.
Okay,
So
I get you. I get what you're saying.
So there is 16 games left in the season. He can miss 3 more and still be eligible for the prize.
Got you. That makes sense how you explain it. Dang,
Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money.
Hey, I'll play right now. You give me $52 million. I'll go play
You know
right now.
You know what I do? I'd go do the jump ball. Go do the jump ball.
I'll do anything. What? Yeah.
Go do the jump ball. Call timeout. Get his ass out of the game, baby.
Man.
You know what Frank won't do for $52 million? He ain't gonna do that clap after the game, man. When they hit the drum, Mike.
You give $52 million. Yeah, I'll ring the drum and everything. I'll do everything. Oh yeah. Yes, I will.
You
Frank,
know,
what do you think
Frank
of the whole? Have
Frank
you been
was
to a
funny,
Spurs game this
Mike.
year?
You said what?
Have you been to a Spurs game this year?
I've been to like 2 or 3.
Did you do the chants? Did you clap along?
Negative. Negative. I don't even stay to the end. I'm not even.
Joe,
Who?
Joe, I
Time
give.
out. Question: Who stays to the end of the game, anyways? Are we not trying to beat traffic? What are we doing? Like, I'm not trying to sit there in a line for an hour to leave the
here?
game. I'm trying to get home, so I'm not
Which
sitting in
one of us
traffic.
is 49 years old, me or you, Frank?
Jeez, man. Hey,
So
Frank.
I love when we have Frank Harris on because we realize that I'm the brown him and he's the black me. I mean, that's just basically it. It's just very, very cool. No, but the
That's
culture of
funny.
involved, because I made fun of the Jackals and the whole chants and all that. But you know, when you're winning, it's actually a pretty cool thing. If they were a losing team, it would be the corniest thing of all time. But because they're winning, you know, I'm all right with it.
He said, "I'm all right with it."
That's
We too
funny,
Hey,
like
man.
that. Not to.
we have to have Frank has a heart out, dude. He has to get out of here because he's got things to do. But we
I
appreciate
do,
you,
man.
Frank, for
He's
donating
slinging
your
that
time,
Hey,
commercial
man.
real estate, baby.
yeah, man. I'm trying to get like you so I can go enjoy my birthday's coming up. So I'm trying to be like you on my birthday. Oh yeah.
Very nice. No, man, Chica took care of me big time. We're at the Marriott Marquis. Joe, I don't know if
Oh,
you
that's
if you
big
show the
time.
photos from the media share, but the
Yeah.
Marriott Marquis has a massive on the 6th floor, a massive lazy river that's the shape of the state of Texas.
Oh, I
It's
know exactly where you're staying at now. Yep.
yeah,
That was you
very
and
very nice.
Chica.
So
You
yeah,
and
so
Chica.
we're on the 27th floor, but that's the
That's
lazy river right
cool.
there. That is nice.
That's dope, man.
Got in that yesterday. Went and saw Bill Burr perform. He's one of my favorite comedians. Man, he had the crowd, half the crowd in their fields yesterday. Man, he just had them squirming in their seats. It was great. We did
That's
that. My
good,
parents
man.
and my kids are coming over to visit me tonight, so we're gonna go do that. So it's been a great time. And then also my last birthday gift is that my wife bought me tickets to go watch. I gotta ask you this question, Frank. She bought me tickets to go watch the Spurs Heat game, right? The game's in Miami next week, the 23rd. So we go to Miami because our daughter is in school over there. So
Okay.
so so she's in residency over there. So we visit her every 3 months. We just happen to go when the Spurs are there. We bought the tickets, Frank. Three of those tickets. I'm sorry, four of those tickets for $1,200. 14th row, right? Mid center court, 14th row, $300 a pop, four for 1,200, right? Because the Spurs have been on this tear, we bought these tickets months ago. The tickets are now going for about 900 to 1,000 a pop. Do we go to the game or do we sell the tickets?
You sell those tickets and go watch it with your daughter at a restaurant and pay for the trip after you sell those tickets.
Frank, when did you get
No,
old, man? When did you get
man.
old?
Hey, man. Golly. No, that I mean that'd be a great experience to go watch that game. To be honest, I mean that's a steal. Um, it kind of depends on how you're feeling. You got to just play that game time decision.
Game time decision.
Game
Depends on
time
what's going
decision.
on in South Beach that night. Mark Cavazos
Depends on
reaches
what's
out to
going.
us in our
If I'm
chat powered by PF Chang's La Contender and
exactly.
says, Frank does not care about the drum.
Nope.
He can give two
Yeah,
craps about
not
the
a fan.
drum.
Yeah, not a big fan.
You know what? You know what it is, Frank? I think you're a little low key, you're a little jealous. You're a little jealous that
Oh,
Oh,
UTSA didn't do
man.
that. That the Roadrunners did
you
not
did.
come out with a
Hey,
drum.
you damn right. We didn't do that. We wouldn't do that because I wouldn't allow them to do that.
He said
Frank,
I
nope.
would put a. I'd be like, yeah, we not. Yeah, sorry, we're not doing this. We're not partaking in this. We're not doing this, boys.
Frank
Let's go
coming
back
out
to it.
looking like a drum major, like a band
Yeah, yeah.
leader.
I look like off a drum line. Nick Kane off a drum line. Yeah, we're not doing that. Not doing that.
Yeah.
Dude,
All right. Well,
that's
we
awesome.
gotta say goodbye to Frank because he got things to do, Mike.
But Frank has to give a commercial for himself, man. Well, I mean, we got to
Yeah.
get you some business, man. How do we get you business? Oh, well, just to let you know, Frank is frozen out. Frank is in commercial real
Man, it
estate,
started
man.
cutting out.
So,
I can't hear.
oh, okay, yeah, we we're
It
saying
started
do a
cutting out.
commercial
I
for
couldn't. I
yourself,
couldn't
man.
hear
How
what you said.
do we send you business for
What'd
commercial
you say?
real estate?
I don't think he can hear anymore. We have to
Okay,
kick him out.
no worries. Hey, thanks for being on, Frank. Yeah, so
Man, my
Frank does
service
commercial
keeps
real
cutting
estate,
out.
man. So commercial real estate is basically people who need properties for businesses. So if you have somebody who has a business that is up for sale, real estate, things like not like residential stuff, not like a home, right? But like something like a warehouse, a bar going out of business, a restaurant, a shopping center, whatever the case may be. Reach out to Frank Harris, man. And if you don't know Frank's information, reach out to us. Give us a call, 210-508-0369.
So
So
we
Joe,
do. Hmm.
it's been fun over here in Houston, dude. I mean, I don't like Houston, downtown Houston, but this hotel is pretty swanky, dude. Pretty nice.
Nice. We got our in studio guest joining us here.
Who do we got?
This is my friend. I'm gonna go ahead and change your name too, Paul. You're not Joe Garcia. You're the other Garcia. You are
Oh, dude, it's Paul Garcia.
Paul Garcia.
How's it going?
Very
Yeah.
nice, man. What's going on, brother?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right here in town, San Antonio for a few days. So went to
Yeah.
a Spurs game last night and be there tomorrow again for the Charlotte Hornets game.
Yeah. So
It's got to be disappointing to walk into the Frost Bank Center and see no Wemby on out there, man. People spend a lot of money on these tickets, right? And then you show up, and we knew it, man. We knew it when we saw his name on the injury report that something was up, that it was load management time. And I don't disagree with it, man. I don't disagree with them having him go to the bench. They'd won 16 of 17 games. He had mentioned after the Clippers game how exhausted he was after the 25-point comeback. He had explained that after all these games that he's been tired. I mean, he's normally played because when he first came into the season after the injury, 23, 26 minutes per game, right? That's what he was. That he'd been playing 36, 38, 40 minutes. It was time to rest him. So I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, that understandable. Yeah, he just got to be careful because man, he only has 3.5 games. Like, that he can miss the rest of the way. So he's right there for Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA team, top 3 MVP candidate, all that kind of stuff, and could just well be ruined if he misses too many games here.
So I was gonna say introduction to Paul. Paul and me used to work together years ago over at Project Spurs. So I keep in touch with Paul. You've been doing great work over there, doing your own independent thing now. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because you have a Substack and you have a new podcast.
Yes, so my Substack's called The Spot Up Shot. Just doing my writing there, and then I have a podcast called The Spot Up Pod. So it's the same thing, just covering the Spurs there, and covering a little bit more All NBA, not specifically the Spurs, but yeah, still kind of keeping in the grind and just covering the team. So
keep on doing what you're doing. Yeah. Paul's always been our go-to guy when it comes to stats, numbers, all that kind of thing. And I'm going to tell you, Paul, from seeing the Spurs and the evolution of their game is what I was talking with Frank Harris about. We've seen the game evolve for them from the beginning of the season, and they had a little bit too much inconsistency in the beginning to now. Mm-hmm. And what do you attribute that to, that consistency that we've seen and the evolution of also Victor Wembanyama's game?
Well, it just helps for one to have him on the floor this year. I mean,
does he look generational?
Yeah, that guy looks generational. I mean, their defense, you saw it the 2 games he hasn't played against Denver, they give up the season high 136, and it's never happened other than when he's not on the floor. So that's part of it, and just having the consistency. The young guys have really taken a leap that I didn't expect so early. Guys like Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox is finally kind of starting to round into form here these last few games. And then you just got all those vets. You got Luke Cornett, you got Harrison Barnes, you got the young guy too, Carter Bryant, popping off all of a sudden, here late in the season. So I think it's just a culmination of things. They're really just again have a top 10 offense and defense this year, and it's just really that's going to carry you. They take care of the bad teams most nights. I mean, they don't really have a bad record against the bad teams, and then even the good teams, and we've seen them take care of business there as well, having a really good record. And even that game against Denver, I know they lost, but man, just to put a 20-point margin on Denver was just kind of eye-popping there for a little bit.
It was. They looked very impressive early on, but the wheels came off in that fourth quarter. It seems like they kind of ran out of gas a little bit. And of course, Victor Wembanyama was on the court. So even though that they were minus Vic, they still put up a valiant effort. It just wasn't enough in that fourth quarter to overcome that Denver run,
Yeah. And that's the one thing. So like almost every playoff series they're going to have in the West, I'm kind of have a good feeling for it, against OKC, against the Rockets, the Lakers. You kind of know what's going to happen.
Golden State.
That's the one, though, is Spurs-Nuggets. You don't know because Wemby hasn't been there. Also, Aaron Gordon hasn't been there. So it's just 2 teams that we don't quite know what's going to look like in the playoffs. So I'm hoping, I know they have 2 more games here against each other. Maybe we'll get to see them, at full strength, both teams.
Did you have any questions for Paul, Mike?
Man, well, I'm so glad to have him on today, man. That's amazing. I've been following Paul for the longest time. He's very cerebral when it comes to his basketball takes, and he doesn't hold back, man. We talk about San Antonio media basically giving roses and flowers to Brian Wright and Pop and whatnot. So, deservedly so this year, but in years past, they were just doing it just so they'd be in their good graces, right? But Paul's really consistent with his takes when it comes to the Spurs. Uh, I have one question for you, man. When it comes to it all, Joe and I have been talking about the moving of the goalposts all season long when it comes to expectations.
Mhm.
Joe was a skeptic for quite some time about this team, saying that there needs to be heartache in order to climb the top of the mountain. That you need to have a heartache and lose a 7 game series or a hard fought series to make it over. But the Spurs are healthy right now. Do you believe in the idea that you need to have heartbreak to make it to the top?
I do believe in that a little bit, but the things that they've done this year as such a young team has like kind of given them a little bit of a wild card factor where maybe they can be that one exception. So again, I think it's going to come down to their shooting. I'm still not 100%, sold on them. That's going to be their one weakness in the playoffs. I think teams are really going to exploit it, and I know they've been showing that they've been doing a better job. I think since post All-Star break, Castle's shooting over 40%, Dylan Harper shooting over 40%. I still don't trust that though in the playoffs, and so I think that's where we're going to really see it. On top of what you said there, the experience factor. I think those could be their two downfalls. But again, the fact that they're doing this right now, that most nights they're actually shooting the ball really well, even their young guys who are being tested. I do think they can be that one team who can be that rare exception that can, possibly get to the finals and maybe win it, just because of what the talent that they have, especially on defense. That's the one thing is their defense is just so consistent when they have Victor out there. And that's the one thing they can bank on every night, whether they're having a good shooting night or not. So I do think they can kind of be that rare exception, but I'd probably still, wouldn't pick them versus the field in terms of, making it all the way to the finals and winning. I just think that those two culminations, both the experience and the shooting, is the two things I don't trust quite yet.
I like the phrase that you used, the field. Do you take OKC or the field?
No, I wouldn't take OKC either. It's just there's like there's no clear team out there out west. Because again, if the Thunder draw the Spurs, hey, I might pick the Spurs because the Spurs just look like they have their number. They've done a really good job against them. So that's the thing. It's just, man, I really want to see. I'm pretty sold on. I think Spurs take down the Thunder. They take down the Rockets. They take down the Lakers. It's that Spurs-Nuggets series now that's kind of bothering me. The fact that we haven't seen them 100% against each other, and I don't really have quite a feel for it. Again, Denver just went crazy offensively against San Antonio, but it also Victor hasn't been there in either of those two games.
I was going to ask you a question here, Paul. It's a very important question. Greg is asking you, Paul, more important question. Do you clap after the Spurs win? You know how they do the drum and everybody's in their living room.
No, you do it in the living room.
No. I had years ago I had to set aside my fan bias, so I don't really do it as much anymore. So
another one that doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Frank Harris doesn't do that, and neither does Paul Garcia. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to put you on the spotlight, the hot seat right now.
No.
Spurs Jackals. Have you been impressed by the Spurs Jackals, the supporters group that's singing "Ole, ole, ole"?
I mean, they do their thing, but for me, I mean, I'm not there every night at the arena anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. I mean, you can hear them on TV, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the baseline bumps because they're still there, right?
Yeah, they're still there.
In the media section where they have me sit, I have the baseline bumps behind me. I felt bad for them because I would hear the Jackals start their chant and they kind of copy it. It's just like they were here first, originally, but it is what it is.
They got old, baby. They got old.
Yeah,
you gotta play the anime. You gotta play the animation, Joe.
Oh God! So Mike
got in trouble.
Infamously got in trouble because he was bad mouthing the Jackals right when they first came out. He goes, when they do their chants and they do all that, that's stupid. I hear it and I goes, that's stupid. And we have actual audio from him saying that, right? So I kind of put it together with an AI.
Yeah.
And something else came out of that, and that was this.
Ole, 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 ole. You're stupid.
So we got Mike doing that with the Marbach haircut and everything. Because in the beginning, he was like, I'm not impressed with this Jackals. Nobody's going to do the chants. And the Jackals came down on Mike and whatever. And then Mike made amends because he went to a Houston Rockets game and he showed his belly. Like I say, like when a dog lays down and shows you their belly because they're being submissive. Mike was rows away from the Jackals and he went out of his way to go all the way up to them and be like, I'm Michael Jimenez and I sorry. I'm gonna show you.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I think it's pretty creative, some of the stuff they come up with, but I'm really eager to see, like, how mean can they get? It's gonna be. I think that's one for like the playoffs. Like they have like a really bad shooter or someone, at the free throw line. What kind of chance can they think of? Or like if they play the Rockets, when they bring up the KD stuff like on social media.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm eager to see, is how much do they go away from like more of the traditional stuff that they're already doing.
I want to know if Nacho's going to get into all the games with his gear.
God, man, Spurs.
The guy dressed like Nacho Libre out there who was not allowed.
Yeah.
Center.
They didn't let him in Austin.
Oh wow!
When he tried to go into that first game that the Spurs had
Yeah.
in Austin, he tried to go in with his Nacho Libre gear, and they said, "No, you're not going in the arena like that."
Oh my!
And he didn't have any extra clothes. Like, how do you not have any extra clothes? And he goes, "I had to drive all the way back home, all serio." I'm like, whatever, bro. But they let him in the next game, so everything was cool. But
Hey, fellas, I gotta let you guys go, man. I gotta check out the hotel. Y'all take care.
All right, man. Cool.
Later.
Paul, thanks for being on, man.
All right, man. Cool.
So I was going to ask you a serious question here.
Mhm.
So there's teams that the Spurs really don't match up well against, right? And you're looking at these possible first round matchups. The one team I got to tell you, Paul, that kind of scares me is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yep, they're one of them. Mhm.
They're that team that I do not want to see in the playoffs at all, because they don't have it seems like the Spurs just don't have a question for Ant-Man. They don't. And he's the one factor. He's a wild card.
Yeah.
He can go off and there's nothing they can do about it. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's one of those questions of, how are they going to guard those wings, those those scoring kind of wings. Even we saw a little bit yesterday with Jamal, where their best lockdown defender is Stephon Castle, but against those bigger wings, it's a little bit more challenging for him. Plus, it kind of reminds me of what Denver did last night, was that they were putting him in a lot of pick and rolls to get Castle off of Jamal. Same thing that Minnesota's going to do. They're going to put Castle in a ton of pick and rolls with Ant-Man. And if Wemby's dropping or Luke Cornett's dropping, that's an open three for him. Also, I think that the too big factor is an issue for the Spurs at times. We saw that against the New York Knicks, who play too big at times. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they're 0-2 against them. So I think that's another thing, is teams with size, like you're saying there with Minnesota, Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle. Even though I think Wemby has Gobert's number, he does whatever he wants against him, but it's Randle who can kind of be an X factor there in that kind of a series. I think that's one of the questionable matchups as well that I don't really have a good feeling for, compared to Spurs versus Lakers, Rockets, Thunder. I think you're right that some of those teams can be pretty tough matchups for them, like Minnesota.
Yeah, like you even have like Golden State. They're like, oh, Golden State's an easy out. And I'm like, they're not really that easy. Like they still have a lot of veteran players on there that know what it takes to win at that, post, season level or whatever. And it's not going to be easy for the Spurs if they did draw Golden State. I think they could go ahead and beat them.
Yeah.
But the problem is that how beat up are they going to be for the next series?
Yeah, no, that's the question. I think honestly too, the Warriors, can they be healthy? That's the only thing.
Yeah.
So right now it doesn't look like it. And so you're right. Like in the 2 November games, remember Golden State beat them, in San Antonio for the NBA Cup, those play-in games. And then the most recent one in Golden State, right before All-Star break, they were up by 16 on the Spurs, and San Antonio was able to make the comeback, and that was without Curry. So I think, of course, I would pick the Spurs in that series, but yeah, that's another one that just presents a matchup issue, just because of the kind of schemes that Draymond and Steve Kerr can kind of throw in there defensively. And then if Steph is playing and he's 100%, well, then that can be scary coming off of screens and things like that. And we don't also know the new X factor of Kristaps Porzingis, although Jimmy Butler for sure won't be there. So yeah, that's just, I would still pick the Spurs in a series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they can, it would have been easy. Maybe like 5-6 is what it would take to get out there.
I think any matchup that the Spurs are going to draw in that first round, it's not going to be, the team's just going to lay down and they're just going to dispatch them and it's going to be a sweep. I think it's still going to be a battle. They're going to have to go out there and actually play really well to win these games. And I think they know that. And because they're a young team, I think that they have that youth on their side, versus maybe if they get another draw that has a lot more veteran players on it. I think that's how the Spurs are going to be able to outlast, because they're going to be fresher when it comes to having that day off and then you play again. Because when it comes to the playoffs, a lot of people don't understand there's no back-to-backs.
Yeah,
you have a buffer,
Mm-hmm.
So that bodes well for the Spurs, because again, they're young. They don't need as much recovery time as another team that has veteran players.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the matchups and seeing how well the team will perform. But we do have a super chat that we need to get to, because Mike kept talking and it got buried.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
So thank you, Jason, for the $4.99 super chat. He says, I went to a Spurs game and all I got was the jackal clap. Doctors say there's no treatment for it. Oh, Jason. Oh, anyway, he's referring to the Jackals because he's an SAFC supporter. But everybody's talking about different things here. They're talking to you right now about the small ball lineup.
Mhm.
And this is a question from Mario Cavazos. He says, "What's your opinion about the small lineup that Mitch likes to throw out there? What is the advantage and disadvantage of it, in your opinion?"
Yeah, let's talk about the advantages first. I think I forgot what game it was where they started to make a comeback. The Clippers game. It was the Clippers game. So you saw some of the benefits of it. There was a lot of Carter Bryant in there in that game at the small ball five. Also Keldon Johnson. So the benefit is that they can go to like this kind of like this zone where they can kind of just have Carter floating everywhere, Keldon on different matchups. And so I think that the zone wise it works a little bit better because they can just be everywhere, just different defenders. Now the disadvantage is what you see against players with height, or someone like Jokic can just carve them up. Whether he's fighting players or scoring himself, is that they could, those bigs that are skilled, they can attack that smaller lineup. And that was one thing I noticed yesterday. I remember it was either a foul or a timeout against the Nuggets, and then everybody gets on the floor. You just see Jokic, and normally as he's tall, obviously he's the tallest guy on the court. It's just him and like a bunch of little guys, all the Spurs wings and guards that they had. They had like Harper, Castle out there, Carter Bryant, Harrison Barnes. And so, so some games it does work, but others, like yesterday against Denver, you can just tell that he didn't trust either Mason Plumlee or Luke Cornett. Eventually, I know that he went to Cornett down the stretch in crunch time finally, but there's something about that he doesn't trust. Especially, I think the reason why he does it is because their options outside of Wemby are that none of them are shooters. Cornett's not a spacer. Neither is Mason Plumlee. Of course, Bismack never was. Kelly Olynyk, you can't trust him on defense. And so that's what I think it is that they just don't trust. They need more spacing on offense on top of teams already, backing off Castle. They're backing off Harper, off all these different players. So I think that's why he does it, is to give more spacing on offense. But yeah, I think it is vulnerable against certain matchups. And that's why defensively you saw them have a tough time against Denver there on the night before.
One of the things that I've seen that happens with the Spurs, and this is the big question mark I have with them, when it comes into the playoff time, right? You've seen the Spurs have some trouble, especially against teams like the New York Knicks, right?
Mhm.
And what the New York Knicks do really well against the Spurs is that they have size. They have big men that can shoot and space the floor very well. And also they're kind of mobile and they can play great defense. They're great defenders. So what happens with the New York Knicks is that they know that the Spurs are a faster, more athletic team. So they slow the game down
Mhm.
and they make it more of a half court set for them. And that's when they have their troubles, because now they've taken away their speed and athleticism. They've taken away their passing lanes and they turn them into one thing, a jump shooting team. And they're daring them to make the shots to break the zone.
And honestly, like teams say that's what they're going to do. Who was it? David Adelman, the Denver coach, whatever his first name. I apologize. Anyway, Adelman said, because I was in his pregame interview yesterday, he's like, we're going to load up. We're trying to do is keep them out of the paint. And he goes, they're one of the fastest teams, so we try to keep the pace down. That's what teams are going to do. Even who was it? The Boston Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla was basically saying they were going to live with Wemby taking threes before that game. And so obviously, they paid the price, but that's what teams are going to do. Their teams are more willing to sacrifice the three to the Spurs than the paint. And that's what they want to do, is take away the paint. Because if you take away the paint, you're stopping all those easy layups and dunks there. And then plus all rebounds, plus all the kickouts as well. And so, and even just talking about what you were saying about the Knicks and Karl Anthony Towns, one of the issues with him is that Victor wasn't guarding him, so he would guard like who was it, Josh Hart, to be around in the paint. Well, the issue is that Towns now had a matchup size wise against whichever guard was on him, someone like Stephon Castle, and so that made the offensive rebounding vulnerable. And again, that's another thing with Minnesota where the offensive rebounding can be vulnerable with Gobert and Randall being the players. Wemby's not guarding in that matchup.
Yeah, and that causes problems, because if you're getting second and third chance opportunities because you're going to get the offensive rebounds. And the Spurs, they played a great defensive set, but then they can't get the offensive rebound. Clock kind of resets a little bit. Then that team, if you give them 2 or 3 chances, they're going to knock it down. You know, and when you're in a close game, that's a big mistake. And because the Spurs don't have necessarily the size to match up against a team like the New York Knicks, for example, that have a lot of big men on their team, that presents a challenge, especially when you have a small ball lineup out there. But so there's advantages and disadvantages. And again, if it's a 7-game series, you don't expect that your big man's going to be that crisp for that 7 games. They're going to eventually get tired, have a bad shooting night, and that's when the Spurs are going to be able to capitalize, because there's a lot of adjustments that are going on both sides of the court. So that's another thing that is a factor for me, is how well will Mitch Johnson make those adjustments when it comes to the postseason?
That's what I am very interested to see.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's what I said. I mean, as much as, yes, like right now on paper in the regular season, they're just killing teams at times. That's going to be the big one is, when teams make those adjustments. I know that some teams have started to put their bigs on Stephon Castle in games, and he's figured it out so far. And I just feel like the schemes are going to change defensively for teams on trying to keep the players out of the paint as much as possible. And so I think so. That's where like lately I'm a little more impressed by the Spurs and what they're doing, because this is something that teams are deliberately trying to do to them, and yet they're still getting in there and wreaking havoc, especially De'Aaron Fox. I mean, even in last night's game against Denver, when they were trying to keep everyone out of the paint, you still see Fox getting their 10 paint points. He's had like 16 paint points, and so that's a really good sign that Fox at least, Wemby might be out to the 3-point line and Castle and Harper just being left open. Fox is kind of figuring it out in these last 5 games of how to get into the paint against teams that want him out of the paint, and so I think that's a really good sign that they're kind of figuring it out. But I really feel like, I got to see first in the playoffs what Mitch does to some of these chess matches, basically, when teams are going to do some things defensively, to scheme wise, either against Victor or to keep the guards out of the paint as much as possible. And how does he react, or how does he counter?
Yeah, one of the things that I saw one of the teams do against Vic this season was, I forgot who it was. It was a team that didn't have a very good record, but they gave the Spurs fits, especially Victor Wembanyama, inside the paint. So Vic was camping out inside the paint, of course, go ahead and alter shots, block shots. But one of the schemes that this team did very well is that they had somebody that I would say is going to be like a decoy.
Yeah.
So they would put a defender that would come out, right? A player would come out, and it was just a distraction. And they knew that they were going to go ahead and feed the ball to another player. So they would feed the ball to this other player. Probably he was going to be a point guard, shooting guard, and he would make his way to the paint. And immediately it was almost like setting an illegal screen, right? A moving screen. So they would get that player, and he would come out and get physical with Vic, and he would kind of push him out a little bit in the paint. And then right behind him, you had that other player, that guard, a shooting guard, come to the rim and either try to go ahead and attempt to make a quick 2, either bank the shot in, layup, try to get a high percentage shot by doing that little decoy move. I thought that was ingenious and a way to kind of move him away from that spot he likes to be at on the floor, making him a little bit more uncomfortable. I want to see how teams are going to go ahead and scheme against him, because that was just one thing that I saw.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's different.
Well, even like one of their plays right now that I forgot who was it. Was it it was the Rockets game. Remember that one where they're having, so now when things get a little bit tight, what they'll do is they'll have the one of the guards set that pick, on the baseline for Victor. He comes out of the corner, and then he just rolls out of it, and then that's a tough, because then they have to switch immediately, and he usually gets like a guard or a wing on him, like he had Reed Shepherd in the Rockets game, and that was one that Dylan Harper said they ran like 15 times in a row.
Yeah,
and it was the one also that I think Stephon Castle said that Ahmed Thompson was listening in on, and he's like, you guys can't stop it, doesn't matter. So that's one too that I think teams in the playoffs, they're going to scheme for that kind of a set, one of those unstoppable kind of sets, and so it's going to be interesting to see as the next chess matches. How does Mitch Johnson, how does the Spurs' offense counter whenever teams do kind of figure something out, or maybe they don't figure something out, and that's just like one of the go-to plays for the Spurs to get Victor going or to kick out to open shots.
Yeah, one of the other players that I've seen this season, and I got to get your opinion on him, Julian Champagnie, right? Julian Champagnie was just like a role player, a couple seasons ago. Didn't look very well, didn't shoot the ball very well, didn't look quite as good as he does this season. Now it's like he's settled into his role in that starting lineup. What he does bring to the Spurs, where he's not the most athletic guy out there, the fastest guy on the court, he brings shooting, three-point shooting.
High volume three-point shooting.
And he spaces the floor. So when he can go off and he's just doing his thing, the Spurs starting 5 looks even better, because now the floor spacing is instantly better. They have to come out and guard him at the wing, because you're afraid he's going to go ahead and go off and hit another 3.
Yep.
And immediately somebody else is open, so they can get a high quality shot. And I've just looked at his game as of late, and I'm being like, mira, Julian Champagnie, he's looking really good as a role player, and you need those role players to help the team success. And I think he's one of these guys that people don't really talk a lot about this season, but it's very evident in his evolution of his game as well. Like, he's elevated.
And the thing about him is you don't know when he's going to go off, and that's the part that's a little harder for the defense to scout, because like the other day when he had 20 points, and he made remember he made 17 points in that comeback against the Clippers, the third quarter. Well, that's the thing, is like, man, he's had like 9 of those games where he's had like 20 points off, just popping off, and he'll have like 15, 12 points in a quarter, but then he has nights like, the last few nights where he had like 8 points against Denver. He didn't score the other night. So yeah, I mean, that's the one thing is he's in a starting lineup where he doesn't have to do much, where he's just got to be ready to shoot, and teams don't want to back off him or Devin Vassell because they're the two most high volume 3-point shooters on the Spurs. So yeah, that was a really good move to put him in the starting lineup. Now defensively, he is a good defender. I think like in terms of team scheme, knowing where to be, but in terms of one-on-one, that's where he can, that's where teams might, go after him and prefer to get him in a switch rather than Castle, being the on-ball defender against whatever, scoring wing is out there. But yeah, right now he's doing really good for his contract that he's on, but that's going to be a question coming up this summer, man.
Bargain.
He's going to, no, that bargain's about to stop here. We're looking at 14 to like 18 million per year for him. If, he can sign an extension as of right now. My feeling why they haven't done it yet is I think they want to just see what happens in the playoffs, kind of see what he looks like. Because like I said, the last 2 games he kind of hasn't had a good night, but again, it's more about the opportunity. Is he getting those shots? Some teams will just be so concerned about Fox, Castle, Wemby that eventually Julian gets the ball and he starts hitting a few in a row. Then he goes on a scoring tear. So
goes off.
Yeah, so I think that's where we're gonna find out his next contract, depending on how much playoff success they have or what he does in the playoffs.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and pause real quick and give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. We're going to give a shout out to the Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio. The Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio is Riverwalk dining at its best. With great scenic views along with its amazing collection of rock memorabilia, there is something for everyone. Enjoy happy hour weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. with $8 and $10 appetizers, $5 domestic drafts, and $6 craft import drafts at the bar only. Try some of the Hard Rock Cafe's legendary steak burgers, or my personal favorite, such as the grilled salmon or baby back ribs. Make sure to visit the 3rd level and enjoy the DJ as you take in the city skyline. The Hard Rock Cafe is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast. So I just want to give a quick shout out again to the Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio. Thank you for sponsoring the Area 210 podcast. And if you guys are out there in downtown San Antonio and looking for a place to eat, consider the Hard Rock Cafe. They got a great view of the Riverwalk over on the 2nd level. And if you make your way up to the 3rd level, you can hang out there at the little pop-up that they have and go ahead and listen to the tunes of the DJ they got out there. So again, thank you to the Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio. So getting back to the San Antonio Spurs, I want to ask your opinion about Carter Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Carter Bryant, rookie season, kind of looked like a rookie early on.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And very much so, because the game was moving fast and you have to get used to the speed of the game. But now that you've seen, again, from him in the beginning of the season to where he's at now we don't talk about him, but he who shall not be named, number 10, is no longer with the team. And I think Carter Bryant made him much more expendable because he had a higher upside. He can he looks like he's going to have a better shooting form. He can go ahead and be able to probably score if you go ahead and work on that with him. And his defense is just great. The kid has a great motor, man, high energy, and he's been just a joy to see out there and kind of coming into his own. What have you thought about him? Have you been impressed by him?
Yes, I've been impressed. And not only that, it's like he's kind of in terms of like their off-season planning, he's going to be the factor in terms of like what do they need going forward, because he can eventually be that player who's maybe, of course he already took the Jeremy Sohan minutes that were there, last season. So he's that kind of like that backup power forward kind of position. He's big enough to guard, wings and guards. And then, if he continues to get even better, does he eventually just move up to the starting lineup, next year or the year after? And then that's where like that question of, do they need to go out and find, a bigger power forward kind of comes into question. But yeah, I've just been really impressed with him. I didn't think he'd get it together this fast,
exactly.
Since like, honestly, like after January. And yeah, I mean, the fact that his 3 ball's finally falling, he's ready to shoot. It doesn't look hesitant as much anymore. And I knew he could shoot because that was the one thing you knew about him. He's a 3-and-D wing at Arizona, from the tape that I watched. And so I knew eventually, the NBA is a different game and he had to wait to see where his shots came from, it's just his confidence. And now it's definitely there. And especially that game, what was it? The Clippers game. Remember he made a clutch 3. It was crunch time. It was his first ever crunch time minutes. And he got left open right there in the center arc 3 and he drills it. And so, yeah, I think that his offense is coming together a little bit more now. Even against Denver yesterday, he was throwing in some little layups and stuff like, right there at the rim. But then defensively, you're right. Since day one, I mean, that's just been the one thing he can do. There'll be times when he's a little too energetic. Maybe he'll get in foul trouble. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, he switches on to anyone. Like I said, with the Spurs' zone schemes that they run with those small ball lineups, they really want him out there because of just his length, how much activity he can cover with the ground where he's running on the floor. So yeah, I've just been super impressed by Carter Bryant, and it's actually made a question of when the team's finally fully healthy again, how much does he take Harrison Barnes' minutes, or does he just go straight back to the bench? Because that was one of the things we saw was that, with Barnes out, it kind of let Carter kind of flourish a little bit more.
Yeah.
And now we'll kind of see, what does the rotation look like once Wemby's back and they're 100% healthy again.
Yeah, we affectionately call Harrison Barnes the Toyota Corolla because
Oh,
we're
man.
saying he was consistent all the time. You put the key in the ignition,
Dude.
turn it on, takes you home,
Yeah.
right? But he's kind of been showing his age a little bit. The Corolla
Yeah.
needed some new tires and oil change and a tune-up, and he's gotten some rest, because he had sprained his ankle when he fell asleep for a nap. That's old man problems there. But now that you're seeing the advent of one Carter Bryant, Harrison Barnes no longer in that starting lineup, coming off the bench
Yeah.
now, I think it tells a tale of his tenure here with maybe San Antonio be coming to an end sooner rather than later, because he's become expendable in ways, because you don't really want him in the context of a game too much. Now you want Carter Bryant in there because of his upside, because of his
Yeah.
motor, and him being able to keep up with his opposing, let's say, assignment for that
Yeah.
night, because he is young, he's fast, he doesn't get tired as much, and he has great hops, man. The kid can jump.
Yes. So yeah.
Exciting to watch. And he just brings something to that second unit. He helps, especially with Keldon out there on the court as well. It's a great mixture. I think that at some point in time, as you see the evolution of Carter Bryant's game, Harrison Barnes is going to become a casualty of that.
Yeah, no. I think for the rest of the season, of course, it's great. It's great to have Barnes on the veteran leadership. You saw him go off against Denver there for 20 points, and I think that's something you're going to need in the playoffs. Let's just say some of those young guys aren't ready for the playoffs, but then that's when you're going to rely on guys like Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox, those vets out there. But I think you're right. Like coming into the season, I thought maybe there was a chance they'd re-sign Harrison Barnes because he's an unrestricted free agent. Now, I mean, just because of the kind of shooting tail off that he had in December, and it's never even like last night against Denver, there was a play where he got a wide open three, and I wasn't confident that he was going to make it.
Yeah,
I was just
exactly.
like, oh, this is going to be one of two. And he did. He made a few of them.
Yeah.
But that's what, last year you were at that point where like any wide open three Harrison got, you knew it was going in. It was swish like automatically. Yeah. This year you don't have as much confidence, and so yeah, I think that because he's a free agent, he might get more opportunity elsewhere, with another playoff team. So I think that they just let him walk in free agency, and then of course, that becomes again that question of does Carter just move into the starting lineup? Does he, he immediately of course gets those minutes that Barnes is gone, and then how do they target that small forward, power forward kind of position in the offseason? But again, we got to see how it shakes out in the playoffs, but again, I don't think it hurts to have a veteran like put Harrison Barnes ready for the playoffs whenever, April comes here.
Yeah, because then, at some point in time, the rookie is going to show his tenure, right? And when push comes to shove and you get in those heated games, where you're in crunch time and you might be down by 2 and you got maybe 50 to 60 seconds left in the game, and you want to make a good decision with the ball, and you want to get a 2-for-1 kind of thing. You don't want to let too much clock go on, wind down, because you still want to make a good decision and make the best quality shot you can within 5 seconds or so you can get the ball back at least 1 or 2 more times. That's where you're going to put in Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, you just
because
the veterans.
The rookie isn't going to be able to make those decisions on the fly because he doesn't have the experience.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, he's going to have to sit down, and that Harrison Barnes time and crunch can either be instrumental and be huge. It'll be the thing that helped the Spurs win, or if he can't keep up, it's going to be the thing that helped them lose the game. So that's, again, that's what happens when you have these veteran players in there. They do bring something to the game, but also you're missing something because then you're kind of losing that defender that could keep up with a more athletic player.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was going to get off subject here a little bit because the Spurs do have a game coming back up tomorrow. They're going to be playing against the Charlotte Hornets on a Saturday. It's 2:30 p.m. tip over at the Frost Center. What is up with the Hornets, man? Why did they have the Spurs number? The Hornets aren't a team that has a very good record. They're okay, right? And they have a good efficiency. When you look at the team and you're seeing the efficiency scale, right? The ladder, the landscape, they're not bad, but their record doesn't say that they're a great team. But there's certain teams that the Spurs just don't match up well against. And I think the Hornets are one of those. What are your opinions?
Well, I wouldn't say it's just the Spurs. I think the Hornets are kind of catching the league by surprise at how they've been playing lately. They've been really good. I'm even I have their post All-Star break numbers. They're the number one offense right now. They got a top 10 defense. Just like they're just they're shredding teams just like the Spurs are doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the way they play. They have like shooting at all 5 positions almost outside of the center spot with Diabate. But even him, he's an energetic, athletic big who can kind of roam around. And yeah, I just think that their ball movement, there's a lot of screening action. If it's not like a LaMelo ball pick and roll. And so that's one thing when we talked about the Warriors earlier that I do think that the Spurs don't see that enough in some offenses is a very high, very off ball screening kind of offense that the Spurs aren't used to guarding that because again,
Yeah.
a lot of teams don't run that. A lot of teams run more traditional, either drive and attack you or pick and roll offenses. And that's one thing that the Hornets do very well outside of like when LaMelo's attacking, but like Brandon Miller coming off screens, Conka Nipple, what's his name? Miles Bridges. They just have a lot of shooting, even off the bench. Now they got, who was it from the Bulls? I can't remember his name. Kobe White now. They have him sixth man now coming off the bench. So I think that's why it's not just the Spurs. They're doing this to a lot of teams, but yeah, I just feel like if it was a playoff series, and of course they're not going to see the Hornets in the playoffs, but if it was a playoff series, they could scheme better to learn how to guard those off-ball screens, things like that. But against in the regular season, when you're just seeing this one team, one afternoon out of your 82 games, it is more of a surprise. And so, yeah, I really feel like if we see them struggle on Saturday afternoon again in the Frost Bank Center, it's because that's just something they're not used to guarding is those more movement kind of offenses where it's not really just like a go-to player. So like that's where like those kind of offenses can kind of make what Victor does and what Stephon Castle do, some of their strengths, a little bit more like I'd say like average, just because you can move Victor away from the rim when you have him involved in all these different screening actions. Same thing for Stephon Castle. Yeah, he's a great lockdown defender, but if you can get him in pick and rolls, not just or off ball screens, and he doesn't really know who to specifically guard, then yeah, I think that it neutralizes some of the strengths of their defense.
Yeah, and we're looking at the efficiency landscape, right? And this was by Kirk Goldsberry, and this was as of the 13th, which is today. And the number one net rating, right, is with the Charlotte Hornets. Number two, and they're number 2 in offense, number 4 in defense. And surprisingly enough, the Hawks, which are not a very good team, their net rating is number 2, number 9 offense, number 1 defense. Then I'm looking at the San Antonio Spurs, and their net rating is number 5, offensive rating is number 5, defense number 6. And this is as of the last 10 games.
Yeah, last 10 games. He does it on Fridays.
So I'm like, okay, the Spurs kind of dipped down a little bit. They were higher up, I believe, last week. So I mean, it happens. They're at home and things happen, but still, they're still right there. They still have a good team, solid team there when it comes to the efficiency landscape. But again, a good matchup for them coming up against the Hornets here. I'm sure Vic wants to go ahead and get a win, especially after that disappointing loss to the Denver Nuggets, because he looked upset after the game. He really wanted to win the game.
Yeah.
Jokic jokingly came up to him and tried to, give him dap, hey, good game. And he just wasn't having it. He was upset. He's like, he wants to win every single game. And you kind of like that about Vic, even crying after that one game. The best game, Paul, that I got to say that I've probably seen as a Spurs fan, arguably one of the best games that I've ever seen, is that come from behind victory against the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that they actually had it in them to come from behind from like 23 points down to win.
Yeah, no, well, my numbers didn't believe it either. Once they go down by like 20, I'm pretty sold. Like, okay, this is a loss. And then it was just Champagne. Remember that third quarter?
Yeah,
makes the comeback. Then the fourth quarter comes, and that was a crazy win. And the fact that they're like, what are they, 1-2 now when they're down by 25? That's a crazy stat to win 33% of your games. But and honestly, like I told you and Mike earlier in the episode, he just can't miss. Like he's at 3.5 games. That's it. Like going forward, he cannot miss. I mean, he's got to play because he's in line for all these different awards, and so he's just got to make sure he meets that him and Jokic. Jokic has even less leeway to miss games, and I think SGA is pretty comfortable where he's at. But he's right there in line for a lot of these awards, so he definitely needs to play.
So we got about 16 games left for the season. Yeah. He can only miss 3. It was 4, but then he missed against the Denver Nuggets. 16 games, can only miss 3 more games. I just want him to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when it comes to winning accolades, that's great. And especially for him, he gets a bonus. Like Mike was saying, he gets a good bonus.
It's part of his contract. Like he can go to so right now, like when he signs in the offseason, he's going to get what's called the 25% max.
Yeah.
If he gets to like some of those other awards, he can make it up to the 30% max. Now, if he gets up to MVP, he can get to the highest level max. But that's why he's got to play just to get for himself, financially, plus, on top of where he belongs.
But here's the thing, man. Would you rather have a healthy Vic? He doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year. He's healthy for the playoffs, and the Spurs win a chip. Which would you rather have, Defensive Player of the Year or the Spurs hosting up another chip?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously you take the chip, as a fan, but obviously, for him, he's got to try to get the the defensive player of the year and all this stuff and all the other stuff that he's going to get, all NBA, all defensive team, possibly MVP. I think that the only way he gets the MVP is if the Spurs could jump OKC, which looks really tough right now.
Yeah.
But that would be the only way, I think, because even numerically, just Shea looks like a little bit further ahead.
You got 16 games left in the season. It could happen, but statistically, after some point in time, the mathematical equations will tell you that it's going to be impossible. We still got 16 games. I still believe that the Spurs can get it done, especially if OKC decides to go ahead and go on a losing streak. They lose, let's say 3-4 games. Spurs catch fire. They're hot and they just go on a tear and start winning like 9 games in a row. They could catch them. But at some point in time, as you start getting near the end of the season, you got to call it, and be like, hey, man, we're number 2. It's okay. Good problems to have. If you could get number 1, great. Number 2 is still good because even at number 2, you're going to go ahead and host a playoff game here in your own home court in the Frost Center, which is great because you don't want this young Spurs team starting a playoff series on the road necessarily, right? And we don't know quite yet who their matchups are. It looks like, it could be the Phoenix Suns if the playoffs started today, but then again, you still have to go ahead and go through that tourney, the play-in tourney to see who your opponent's going to be. But again, it's just one of these things that the only thing you're hoping for as a Spurs fan is that the Spurs stay healthy for that postseason. So I think Mitch is going to start, like 5-6 games left.
Yeah, no.
Players are going to start getting, sat DNPs.
And not only that, I was talking to some of the media guys yesterday at the game, and their schedule looks rough, like in terms of just how easy it is, like how not fun teams that they're going to play.
Let me fix this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so they're going to be playing like, outside of, this past week that we're in right now, where they played Denver, they're going to play Charlotte. They're playing a lot of good teams right now, but it's about to get pretty bleak here in terms of entertaining games, because they're going to get some Sacramento's out there, some fun matchups here coming up here down the stretch. So I think they're going to have a chance to pull up a bunch of wins, but it's going to be interesting. So I just feel like they got to stay on the Thunder tail as much as possible, but even OKC really isn't letting off. I mean, even when we got to think about it, OKC's been missing a lot of their guys, and they're still winning ball games, so it's going to be pretty tough to catch them. Right now, I have them projected for 64 wins, the Thunder, and so to get there, the Spurs would have to go 16-0, which obviously they're not going to do. They're not going to chase that. So we'll just see. What it looks like.
A lot of different types of variables here to as we start bringing the season to a close, with only 16 games left. But again, the only thing you want is this team to be healthy. You want to see them kind of go on a tear. If they can go ahead and just like go on a 10-game winning streak to close out the season, people are going to be scared because this is a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. Nobody.
So.
They're scary good. And I think the Spurs have been designed to do one thing, Paul, and that's to go ahead and beat OKC in a 7-game series.
So that's it. So I mean, I think what you're saying there about nobody wants to see them is because their defense, really Wemby. I mean, it's hard to game plan for him. That's one thing a lot of the other teams just don't have, and so that's where I think that any team, they might think they can figure out the Spurs offensively, but it's just defensively they know they're going to be in for a rough matchup.
Yeah, they are. So we're going to go ahead and pause real quick here. We're going to give a quick shout out to our friends over at PF Chang's, and we'll be back to go ahead and finish off the show and talk San Antonio Spurs basketball with Paul Garcia. PF Chang's La Cantera, San Antonio's premier destination for dinner, date night, or happy hour. Enjoy one of their signature dishes, such as the Singapore street noodles, sesame chicken, or Chang's spicy chicken, or their infamous Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, which are delicious, by the way. You can enjoy all this while you're dining in an Asian-inspired atmosphere. And make sure to enjoy the new outdoor patio and try some of PF Chang's signature cocktails and drinks during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. PF Chang's La Cantera is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast. All right, there we go. Make sure you go ahead and go out and enjoy some of the signature cocktails for PF Chang's. PF Chang's is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast. We appreciate Sean Quintero, all he does for the show. If you go out to PF Chang's, tell Sean Quintero the Area 210 sent you, and make sure that you go and do try some of the $8.99 signature cocktails. My favorite has been the Lychee Martini by far, and they also have the Mai Tai, the Long Island Iced Tea, and the Lemon Drop, which is also a favorite of mine, and their version of the mule. So if you want to go out there and hang out at the patio, maybe enjoy a Spurs game, 2:30 on Saturday, go out there and then tell Sean Quintero that the Area 210 sent you. So again, shout out to PF Chang's La Quintero. They help power the chat. So want to go ahead and show a video, Paul. I saw this, and at the game, the Spurs had a special guest show up. It was a WWE superstar, Penta. He was there and he was beating the drum with the Jackals before the game because that's a new tradition they have now. They hit the drum before the game starts. So it's cool. He's out there. He's promoting the Raw is going to be out there on Monday. So, of course, they have to go ahead and have him out there in a Spurs jersey. Nonetheless, it was cool to see stuff like that.
Yeah, he was on the mic. I think it went into the fourth quarter. He was like trying to pump up the crowd. He was like, getting them going. So, yeah, I heard him yelling. So, yeah, he was out there.
That's cool. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, you get up for that kind of stuff. But I'm going to show the Western Conference standings.
Okay.
Currently, as they stand right now. Western Conference standings after the Spurs lost to the Denver Nuggets. Spurs are still number 2, have a record of 48-18. Number 1 is going to be OKC at 52-15. And number 3 is going to be the Lakers with the record of 41-25. Number 4 is the Houston Rockets with a record of 40-25. Nuggets at number 5 at a record of 41-26. And the Minnesota Timberwolves at number 6, their record is 40-26. So basically, you have 1 and 2, and then everybody else down the stretch from 3 to 6, separated by like maybe a game and a half.
Yeah, it's no, you don't understand. I have like a model that I I put together where I can project everybody's wins, and every day it changes between late. Like yesterday, the other day it was the Rockets at number 3, then now it's the Lakers at number 3, and so yeah, those 5 what are they? 4 teams are going to be moving places every single day that the standings move. Now the team to watch there for the Spurs is that 5-6 matchup because that's who the 3-6, right? So right now it'll be Lakers Wolves because that will be the round 2 opponent, and then also that play-in tournament, which will be Phoenix or Clippers. Whoever wins that game draws San Antonio right now. And I really feel like Warriors, Portland, they're going to kind of stay there in that 9-10 matchup, which would mean that they would play OKC or move on to the second round of the play-in. But yeah, it's really Phoenix or the Clippers right now because I don't see Phoenix might be able to get in there. I don't know, in the top 6 if you think it's just 39 wins there, right?
39.
Yeah, so maybe
27.
Phoenix is honestly in there. Maybe one of those Minnesota, Denver's drops down, or Houston, Lakers. So yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting. And yeah, as far as the Spurs, I mean honestly, they pretty much got number 2 locked up. In terms of looking at projected wins, they only need like 3 or 4, and they pretty much got it. I doubt any of those teams are going to catch them or OKC. And then top 6 is essentially clinched up, even though mathematically they haven't been just yet.
And I'm looking at this, and you just got to think, man, at some point in time, like you said, you hope that Minnesota might move down a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And they move down, maybe they get into the tourney here, and so they hopefully get knocked out, and somebody does us a solid, right? Because we want to see them. But I think they're going to stay pat either at 6 or 5. I mean, I'm thinking that maybe it's the Rockets that might actually slide down a bit more because they're a team without a point guard.
Yeah, they've been struggling too.
And exactly, they've been struggling a lot as of late. The Clippers don't really scare me, even though Kawhi's, ex-Spurs part of the squad. They're just not a very good team when you look at the matchups when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not going to say that they're going to be an easy out. Again, these teams are going to be tough because they're just not going to want to lose, right? But the Spurs could dispatch this team in a 7-game series, right? They could go ahead and do it easily. And then you look at the Phoenix Suns, and maybe they could steal one, Book, have his, go off for 40-something points. I could see that happening, but ultimately the Spurs are going to win. But I'm not scared of anybody in the play-in tourney. The only team I don't want to see is not the Nuggets, the Timberwolves. That's the only one. The Lakers, I'm not afraid of that team either. They got old man LeBron.
Yeah.
Luka's always going to get his, but the rest of the team, they're just not very deep.
They can't. Plus, they can't play defense. They don't stop.
Exactly.
That's a matchup where the Spurs will live in the paint. Like they can just get whatever they want inside. Now, hold on, because regarding the Clippers, man, I feel like that's something to watch. Just because I know it's one game, obviously. So we're going to see on Monday coming up. They're going to play in LA. So I need to see more of Spurs Clippers because the Clippers actually, just like we were talking about the Hornets, the Clippers have actually been a pretty good team. Post All-Star break, or at least since January, they kind of got their season back together. So there's a few factors there. You got Brook Lopez, the stretch big. So that's one thing is like, do they want Wemby on someone else like Chris Dunn? And then that's still, to stop Brook Lopez's pick and pop threes. Now I know he went crazy, had a season high night against the Spurs, but then also the Kawhi factor in terms of I think they're going to do the same thing like they did to Kevin Durant, where they sent traps at Kawhi, that kind of thing. But also he's just one of those players where it's really hard, to game plan for him or put it just one single defender on him. So I really want to see on Monday what it looks like a little bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would pick the Spurs against the Clippers, of course. But in terms of how far that series would go, I really feel like the Clippers could give them a pretty good matchup. And then the Suns, it really depends on Dylan Brooks if he's healthy by the playoffs, because obviously he broke his hand and he was a factor in those early losses in November and October, for the Suns defensively. So they obviously didn't look like the same team when the Spurs killed them in Austin a few weeks ago. But that's just I really feel like the Clippers are a much tougher draw for the Spurs, even though, of course, like you, I would pick the Spurs in either series.
Because again, when you look at matchup wise and you look at what the Clippers have, I mean, they're just not the same powerhouse that they used to be, but they're not like a slouch by any means either. They're still going to go ahead and give the Spurs some fits, especially nephew. Number 2, Kawhi Leonard. Well, he's still very good.
Regarding how good he is, that's another thing too, though. Is he going to be healthy? Because remember, there was one year like he looked great in the season. He gets to the playoffs like the first 2 games, and he's hurt and he's out like the rest. So that's another thing too with Kawhi. You might want to try the Clippers. You just know
part-time
with Kawhi. Yeah,
he's a part-time player, NBA player. But either way, like we talked about, we have both been impressed with the Spurs play as of late. They're looking very well. I'm just hoping that they're going to be able to stay healthy. Go ahead and maybe go and put one more run together here and go on a tear and win like 9 or 8 games in a row to close out the season. That way they can go ahead and end the season on a high note.
Yeah, they have a very favorable schedule. Like I said, they don't have really, after this stretch against Charlotte and the Clippers then it gets pretty easy. They might have some tough teams every now and then. And I really feel like the guys who are still, where they have some room to miss games, like Fox, Castle, maybe even like Harper, just some of the younger guys, they can start resting them. A game right here too. Obviously, Victor's a tough one who really can't miss too many more games. So I don't know how much rest he would get, but guys like Cornette, those kind of players, I feel like we're going to start seeing them start to miss some of those games, like against the Kings, some of those bad teams that they're going to play. Just give them the night off, let them get the rest of their bodies.
Have Cornette take the night off, give the minutes to Plumlee.
Yeah. So.
Everybody's gonna be excited for Plumlee. Look
all right.
at Plumlee.
Yeah, a lot of energy yesterday. So.
he looks like he's having a good time here.
And he's just there in case Wemby in a playoff game gets in foul trouble or Cornette gets in foul trouble, and that way they have them ready to go.
What happens with the roster though? Because I know they can only carry so many players into the playoffs.
They can take the full 15 that they have right now. So the only players who wouldn't be allowed to be is the 2-way guys, which David Jones Garcia is out for the year. Harrison Ingram's not going to play. Emmanuel Miller is not going to play. So I mean, they're fine. They have their 15 guys they can take into the playoffs. As far as active though, you're right. I think there's a limitation. Obviously the Spurs haven't been in the playoffs in so many years, so I forgot how many. It used to be like 12 guys can be active for the playoffs.
Yes, exactly.
So I think those nights you might see like maybe Kelly Olynyk gets a DNP. Who else? Bismack Biyombo and street clothes. Those kind of guys. But they'll have their rotation though.
Because that's the one thing is like, they can carry them, but they can't play.
So.
Somebody has to be a DNP for the night or two. So that's gonna be interesting to see how they go ahead and do that. But I'm excited. I'm excited not only for Spurs basketball in the postseason, but also Spurs and Fiesta go hand in hand, Paul. And it's gonna be good times here in San Antonio. The flags are gonna be flying high. Everybody's gonna be wearing their Spurs gear. Are you going to be excited? Will you be attending Fiesta with your Spurs gear on?
I'll try to make it down for a playoff game. I don't know if I'll be here during the. I mean, it's during Fiesta, right? So
during Fiesta, man.
If there's like a weekend playoff game, I'm gonna try to make it over here. So
I got to tell you one thing, man. What is going on with this ticket pricing, dude? I was gonna go to the game on Saturday, right, with my friends, and I mean, I can get the tickets. That's no big deal. But the problem is that when you're looking at seats in the upper level, they're going for $100+.
Oh man.
Just to go see the Charlotte Hornets play at 2:30. And that's the Spurs effect because they've been playing really well.
Yeah.
But then you're looking at other games. Okay, let me go and see if I want to go attend some other games. And some of the other games, the asking price for the ticket's not going to be like $100, but it's still up in there, $75. $60, $50 for the nosebleed section.
Oh my!
Right, so that's the Spurs effect. And before, when they weren't very good, you could had tickets for like $25, $30.
That's what you get for having a number 2 team in the Western Conference.
Not anymore.
Yep, that's what it is now. They're good again. So,
Paul, if you don't have media passes to go to these games, they're expensive, man.
Yeah. No, I know.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I was gonna go, but I'm like, man, for that much, it's like I could just watch it somewhere else.
Yeah. So,
and have a drink or two and have some food and be watching it on the TV. I was like, that's going to have to be the move because everybody's like, no, man, we can't afford to be paying that much for nosebleed for the Charlotte Hornets. They'd rather pay it for another team, not the Hornets.
Not the Hornets. Yeah.
So it's going to be a pass, man, unfortunately. So I look forward though to see you and your podcasts that you have, the Spot Up Pod, and they can also go ahead and check out your Substack.
Yep.
And what are you going to be doing for the playoffs? Are you going to have anything that you're going to be putting together number wise?
Yeah, I mean, I always man, that's another thing too, is like it's like getting the stuff out of the attic, like in the models. One of the things was when I was trying to figure out playoff seeding, I used to have this model I used to do for the Spurs every year, and obviously they haven't done it in years, so I couldn't remember. So yeah, I'll do these huge numbers breakdowns before each series, and kind of look back at some of the matchups and film stuff. And so yeah, I really go all in, and I'm really excited, to finally be back in the playoffs and covering it again.
Have something to talk about, right after the season ends. It's like the second season starting.
Dude, by this time I was already preparing for March Madness, like ready to look at some of the high lottery picks for the Spurs, because they've just been bad these last few years. So yeah, this is nice, like to not even have to worry. Like their picks going to be terrible. It's going to be like in the 20s, like late 20s, and then of course they're going to get the Hawks pick. But even the Hawks right now, they have like like you said in that graphic, they have like one of the best records lately, or like one of the best defenses. So yeah, so that's kind of nice to not have to look to the draft so much this year, and instead be ready for deep playoff basketball. I think that's one of the issues though, is that there's now an expectation for the Spurs team. If you if you finish with the number 2 record, you're going to be favored in a lot of series, and so that's the thing is they have to be really careful about not flaming out early, is because man, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, but we got an incoming super chat here as we end the show.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Thank you, Drew, for the $5 super chat. Drew is saying this is the playing era. Top 8 get what is essentially a bye week. He goes, even more rest. Mitch playing pops, dumb small ball, cost us again. He goes, Denver, boo.
Yeah, I mean that was a tough. Yeah, so let's see here. This is a playing era. Top 8 gets. So a bye week. So they're saying like round 1's going to be tough. Is that, or it's going to be easy? Is that what we're saying here?
Well, he's just saying that you get to rest a little bit.
Oh yeah,
more, which bodes well for the team, because as we have 16 games left in the season. You can start telling that some of these players are getting banged up a little bit. Like Vic, for example, he's having to put up with how teams are going to scheme against him, and that's very physical. His length, but you can try to take his length away by pushing him, getting physical with him, and making it harder for him to go ahead and start his motion to the basket or getting defensive position. And that's what they're doing. But he's done a great job too, I think, Paul, at learning how to play through it now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And we got another incoming super chat.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Thank you, Drew, for that $5 super chat. He says, Mitch trying to be maestro instead of playing the boring and mundane. The mundane will kill us in the playoffs. He goes, coach's egos, am I right? That's what he's saying. So
yeah, I'll see how much Mitch wants to go to the small ball whenever Wemby and Cornette are out there. That's going to be interesting. But they did it against the Clippers, so who knows? Maybe he does like it. So we'll see. Because obviously, he's right. Like that killed him against Denver yesterday.
I think he's trying to say that catchphrase that Mitch had: "Embrace the mundane." You remember he said that early on in the season.
So yeah,
I like that, man. But we're gonna go ahead and bring the show to an end. Paul, I'm gonna go ahead and show the people where they can go ahead and find you and follow you on the X. So I'm gonna go ahead and show your handle here real quick. Let me go ahead and bring it up. There you are. You can go ahead and follow our boy Paul Garcia here. And if you're not following him, make sure you do follow him. Make sure you subscribe to his Substack. He can be followed at Paul Garcia NBA. Go ahead and take a look at that, and take a look at the Spot Up Pod. And make sure you subscribe so you can get notified about when he releases new episodes. So that's about all we have for today's show. Again, Paul, thank you for being our in-studio guest for today. It's been quite some time since I see you, so it was good to see you again.
Good to see you, man. Yep.
All right. So you all be careful out there. We'll see you boys on Monday. Have a good one. We're out. Peace.